Atlas RFID was founded in 2007 to bridge the gap between auto ID and efficiency-conscious firms. Our software product, Jovix, utilizes RFID and barcodes to track materials from fabrication to installation, both online and via mobile. This is material readiness, and that means skilled labor, including welders, pipe fitters, and installation crews, spend less time waiting on materials and more time on tools. Jovix has been deployed on over 300 sites in 10 countries spanning 5 continents.
Good day, folks. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Donnie Hall and I'll be kicking things off today. First off, we will be having a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so if you have any questions during the webinar, please jot them down and feel free to ask during the live Q&A. Today's agenda, we'll be covering the following enhancements/changes in Jovix. New desktop and mobile device material withdrawal to pick list development, some material sequencing, mobile device barcode scanning, shortages, provide you with a quick hardware update, and finally a live Q&A. In the 2018.2 release, we focused on improving the user experience for creating and executing pick lists. We recognized that users needed a better way to identify where materials were located when creating pick lists from their desktop. In order to accomplish this, we've enhanced the user's ability to select a specific location for which they want to pick the material. In 2018.2 desktop version, the user now has the ability to create a pick list by yard and zone or facility and name location. Whether the user chooses to select a yard or zone or facility or name location, the user is able to see the percentage of material available at each location for picking. Once the user has selected a pick location, they are also able to see the cumulative percentage of required materials to be picked. This allows users to better understand if further action is required should the material not be 100% available at the location selected. By improving the way users are able to create pick lists, we believe this will lead to improved organization of resources, specifically those executing the pick list. No longer will users have to guess where material exists at the time of the pick list creation, nor will they be creating large pick lists which cover an entire site, which may have multiple pick locations. Because the user creating the pick list now have the ability to select a specific location, a single pick list or pick ticket can be created for that location and assigned to the appropriate resource in that area. This ensures that resources executing the pick list can grab their tablet or mobile device and go directly to the location indicated and execute the work required in a more timely fashion. Ultimately, this leads to more efficient picking. Previously, users may have picked material line by line as it was shown on the pick list. This likely would have resulted in the users moving to various locations, possibly visiting the same location multiple times. In the 2018.2 release, not only can users creating the pick list narrow down to specific yards and facilities, users holding a tablet or mobile device can now group their pick line items by location or zone. Providing this level of visibility allows users to plan their route and pick all required material which may be available at each location. Allowing users to group by location, they now can see all materials as they pertain to the pick list line items, ensuring users only visit a location once, pick all materials, and move on to the next location. So, to recap quickly, we've enhanced users' ability to create better pick tickets by allowing users to create pick tickets by specific location. We've improved the user's ability to organize resources by directing them to targeted areas opposed to larger pick areas. Encouraged more efficient picking by allowing field users to group by name location or zone, reducing the need to visit locations more than once. Should you like to know more or have any questions on this particular topic, please feel free to ask Daniel during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar, or reach out to an Atlas representative for further details and a demonstration. I'm now going to pass the mic over to Product Manager DC Miles to take you through material sequencing.
All right, thanks. So this is DC Miles. I'm a product owner here at Atlas RFID Solutions. And until now, the Jovix mobile app users, they've had to rely on having a completely separate, costly hardware device, such as a TSL, in order to scan barcodes. Barcodes, if you know, are an integral piece of Jovix's overall values, being a convenient, accessible point of reference for things such as materials, shipping units, RFID tags, and name locations. So being able to utilize the native mobile shell's camera to scan barcodes, that allows the user to no longer require the additional hardware in hand, and that also provides a safe, reliable, and convenient work environment. Now, in addition to the supplier staging, we've also added this mobile shell camera functionality within the material item lookup and update areas. And as a result, we expect our customers to save money by not having to rely on third-party peripheral devices such as the TSL. And that way they can get more value in that anyone that has an Android mobile device, they can now scan Jovix barcodes. Material sequencing at the project level. So until now, Jovix has always created materials with sequence numbers per job, allowing material IDs to be the same or duplicated across the project as long as they were unique to the job. Therefore, if a material was transferred from one job to another job, you'd actually get a different sequence number unique to that new job. So that was pretty problematic to some projects, as their suppliers are commonly transferring materials across thousands of potential jobs, and that inherently made it extremely difficult to track one specific material. So to solve this problem, we built an administrative setting that when selected, that would allow the materials to acquire unique sequence numbers at the project level as opposed to the job level. So with this new setting, if a job-to-job transfer is performed, the unique sequence number of that material does not change, allowing users to manage their inventory with confidence. And lastly here, we have shortages for partially shipped purchase order delivery lines. We did this in the desktop. So here, to close the gap in providing complete OS&D functionality, we rounded out our receiving capabilities by building the ability to completely short a partial shipped quantity when receiving a purchase order delivery line. So, for example, for a PO delivery line with quantity 50 and a shipped, packing list quantity of 10, the user now has the ability to create a shortage of the unshipped quantity, which is 10. So this use case was previously unaccounted for, so as we only allowed for shortage of the full purchase order delivery line quantity, which is 50 in this example. So we're pretty excited to launch this out to the market, and that's everything that I wanted to present today. So I appreciate it, and we'll go ahead and turn this over.
All right, thanks. My name is Jeff Burns. I'm the hardware product manager here at Atlas. And today we're going to talk about hardware. We're going to take a look at our readers. And first I want to talk to you about our fabrication readers. So this is a new development, and we can now track materials as they move along the fabrication process. So using passive RFID, we apply the passive RFID tag when the material's at the beginning of the process. So in this case, it's a generic pipe, and it gets scanned at station 1, and it's in the fabricator's inventory. And then it's going to move to station 2, and this fabricator, at station 2, they're going to do welding. So they add this extra piece, and it's automatically updated once it passes this station. And then it gets finished there and moves on to paint and automatically gets updated. And the last piece of the process. It goes to the packing and shipping area, and everyone in the system can be notified when those materials are updated to that status. And for this particular process, they also have a quarantine area. So if a pipe is damaged or in some way needs to be touched up or is not usable, then they put it in this quarantined area, and it is automatically updated to that status. So very quickly and automatically, the fabrication manager can see where everything's at. Also, this gets passed along to anybody who's got permissions for it. So the site, if they're needing a critical pipe, they can see where it's at in that process. So you can manage that entire fabrication process. Like I said, it uses passive RFID, which is great because these are low cost. There's no battery. They're extremely durable. So the way the upgrade is that we now use a central server PC. So we have one PC, and all of these antennas and individual readers are connected to the network via Ethernet. And then the local network is also connected to the central server PC. And the site only has to maintain that one server PC. And we can also remotely monitor it. And all of this is passive. So once you apply these tags and you move it along throughout that fabrication site, it's all updated automatically. Another thing is that you can customize these status updates. So if you want to update pipes for A, B, C, D statuses, and update another material like pipe fittings with different statuses, even though they might be read by the same antenna and same reader, you can customize that for different types of materials. You can also customize the process. So if you only want materials updated to a painted status after they've been welded, if that's the process, then you can set that up. So it's a requirement that it must go through welding and then paint, and it won't be updated unless you have that in that particular case. So you can set those up, and we'll take a closer look at how that looks in Jovix in just a little while. So we're also, we've recently updated our outdoor reader. So this is very similar to the fabrication readers. These are on site, and you can have them at gates, and it'll update those materials. So now the material, let's say that your shipment of pipes have left the fabricator, they're updated to that shipped status. And as they pass this gate reader antenna, they are automatically updated to on-site, for example. So we now have a new PC inside the gate reader, inside this electrical box. It's a tablet, Mobile Demand T8540. It's extremely rugged, IP68, so it's dust and watertight. Of course, it has a touch screen, and it's cellular capable. And this setup is available for our active and passive readers. And the same readers, the same statuses that I mentioned earlier, you can have on these gate readers, these outdoor gate readers. So looking at those statuses, you've got the reader status rules here, and this is the actual user interface of Jovix. And so for this particular reader, I've got the Atlas training gate reader. For materials that are in a status of in transit, update them to arrived at site. So in this case, this would be an entry gate reader, so it's at the front of the site. And when materials that have been marked as in transit pass this reader, they'll automatically be updated to arrived at site. So in a normal at a normal project, you may have 20, 30, 40 status rules. And these will be customized by your project manager, and you'll work out the exact process and the status updates that make sense for your yard. So looking at the actual job site, we've got the vehicle-mounted reader. So we mentioned the gate readers that could be at any choke points or entry or exit roads or gates. But moving about the actual laydown yard, we have the vehicle-mounted reader. So this is going to sweep the yard and update those material locations, those GPS locations. And we can also set up zone status rules. So in this case, these two materials are in zone A. We can apply a certain status so that maybe that's in our inventory in zone A or laydown yard A. As they come into zone B, that could be our staging area for our picking crew, things that are about to move to the work face. And maybe zone C is our work face. So that's an overall idea of what the zones are used for. And in just a sec, we'll see what it looks like in Jovix. So this gives you traceability of your materials on site. So down here, you see the actual user interface. You see these particular materials. You can see their history, when they were updated, when they arrived on site, the complete history of that particular material, and the status of it. This is what your user interface, this is a broader look into that same user interface. And you see the actual map. This is a real map of a site, and you see how dense the materials are. In this particular site, we see there are 50,000, close to 50,000 materials. And they've chosen to use an engineering drawing as their map. We can also load up satellite imagery for your maps and have that updated for you. On the mobile tablet, you can navigate directly to those materials. So here we see the user is right there, and we see the material is 471 meters south-southwest, and this will navigate them directly to it. So originally it's going to go to that saved GPS location of that particular material that they've got pulled up, and it's going to give them a cardinal direction there. And then that distance. And once they get within the RFID range, it's going to switch from GPS mode for searching for the material to RFID. And this is going to give them hot, cold. We also have this available for the mobile tablet. The interface is similar, and it's going to work the same. They're going to navigate using the GPS in the phone to get them close, and then if they have a reader, they can navigate directly to the material, even if it's in a pile of RFID tagged materials. They'll be able to navigate to that exact piece. So I mentioned the zones. The zones, we can actually dial them in very precisely. So here we see this yellow box. This is the north laydown yard. In this case, we're just using an example. And we can pinpoint the actual zone. So this might be our inventory yard, and this red is for staging. We can actually overlap them so that multiple status rules are applied. And we can do, custom zone areas. In this case, it's a polygon, and we see this blue one down here. But these are very useful and, like I said, highly customizable. So again, that's what it looks like on the mobile device, the Android device. And I mentioned if they have a reader, they'll be able to navigate directly to that RFID tag. If there's not a reader, they can get pretty close with the GPS, between 5 and 10 meters, just whatever the GPS accuracy is on the phone and where it was saved. But this the RFID readers, this is one of the 3 versions available. That's going to navigate directly to that material, whether it's dusty, if it's densely packed. So they're going to have no trouble finding it. Like I said, it'll navigate first with GPS and then switch over to that RFID. When you get close, you're going to get a picture and oral tone, and that'll bring them right to that material. So here are our passive handheld readers. We've got the TSL 1128. That's a gun. You can mount your phone on the back of it, or if you prefer, you can use the ring style reader. And both of these have barcode scanners in them, and we'll show you what those are used for in just a sec. So the barcodes, we have a lot of materials. It doesn't make a lot of sense to use an RFID tag. So if you've got a large structural steel that's not going to move, it's not going to be lost, then it makes sense to just apply a durable label to it. So we use the Zebra P4T. It uses very durable labels that are intended for outdoor use. And we have the barcode on it. We can scan that barcode using those RFID readers. And a new update, we've got the mobile phone. As DC mentioned, the camera in the phone can be used as a barcode scanner. So now if you want to pull up that barcode material, check the status, update the location, or just reference any information, you can just scan that with your phone. So that is our complete solution. Like I said, we've got the gate readers, the vehicle mounted readers. Now we've got the fabrication readers that are tracking materials even further upstream. We've got our RFID tags and our mobile solutions that all feed into our database. The complete database is accessible with any computer, and we also offer professional solutions, professional services on site, and of course support for all of this. So that's our complete solution and what it looks like from a hardware perspective. Now I'm going to hand it over to Daniel for questions and answers.